Here are our kits, the ones that we're going to use. It's good practice if you have the option in your lab to separate the reagents to do so. So for the two rooms that I have, I don't want my controls to be stored in my reagent preparation room. So I'm going to take the controls out of the kits because that's something that I don't want. So for the MGMS kit, it's very easy. Here are my controls. I just take a marker. I write the batch number on it. So I will just take those out and I will put them to the side and I will store that later. We can do the same thing for the other kits. So we'll take the PRRS kit. I will open the box. Here are our reagents. All the PCR reagents are on the left, controls are on the right. What you can do, it's not mandatory, but what you can do with these kits is you can break off this segment with the controls. So I'm going to demonstrate that. It's something that you have to do once or twice by just manipulating them a little bit. You can break off the section that you want. This is the PCR stuff that I'm going to use. And here are the controls again that I don't want in my clean room. So again, I'll just take a marker and I'll write down the batch number and I will store them separately. Right, the practical stuff. Like I mentioned earlier, if you have the luxury of having a computer in all your laboratory rooms, you can take the earlier created plate layout and pull it on your screen and work from there. But I have my printed layout that contains all the information I would ever need in my PCR lab. So I'm going to use this as my guideline to do the rest of my job. So on the left here, Mycoplasma, which is a freeze-dried kit, no reagents needed. Influenza, PRRS. I know where the reagents need to go on the plate, and I know how many reagents I will need for each and every one of the assays due to the printed layout. So let's just start building this, using this as a template. I will move this out of the way, and I will just start with the MGMS kit. So because the MGMS kit is freeze-dried, I am going to use a plate like this, and I'm going to take my kit that contains a whole bunch of stuff. First of all, if you ever need our help, there's a contact card in there that I will dispose of. You will get caps to close the caps once you're finished with the PCR in the other room after adding the reagents and the controls. And here is the product, which is the actual PCR kit. So all we need to do is open the pouch. In the pouch you will find the, as mentioned, freeze-dried reagents, and you will find these bags with the moist captures. We recommend to leave those in there. So here's how it looks. As mentioned before, it's freeze-dried, and you can freeze-dry PCRs in many different ways. We decided to freeze-dry the reagents actually in the cup. I'm going to ruin one by opening it, which I'm normally not going to do for demonstration purposes. And what you will see is that inside there will be these yellow pellets. That's the freeze-dried reagents that we're going to use. This was just to show how it looks. For when you're running it, you have to treat them a little bit more care. So let's take the amount of reagents that I actually need. So I go to my plate layout. I have 2 cups needed in well A1 and B1, and I need a full strip in row number 3. So let's make that. And this is the first part of my job. I'm done now for MGMS. Nothing else is needed. All I need to do now is go to the other room, remove the strips, and add the DNA, and that's it. We also have to deal with 2 liquid kits, our influenza kit and our PRRS kit. For these, I'm going to need my printout again, because it's telling me the amount of reagents that I will need for this. So first step will be, I'll make them in the order in which they are on the plate, or I can follow the order that the software has decided, whatever you want. It's personal preference. In this case, I'll just take my trusty rack. I'll take 2 vials for which I'm going to use to prepare the reagents, and My recommendation would always be, if you're using more than one kit, it's a good thing to write them down. So we have influenza and we have PRRS. So I'll just do that. Now we go to the actual kits. You can do this one at a time or just splay out the reagents as you see fit. Let's just add them to the plate. So let's first go to influenza. We'll need these three. I like keeping my desk clean when I have the option. So if I don't need something, I'll take it away. Here is PRRS. And now the next step would be, this comes from the freezer, so we're going to have to mix it a bit. I always like to keep my stuff away when I'm working elsewhere. So I'm just going to vortex this very briefly. We'll do the same for this one. That's it. Nothing else is needed. If you want, you can use a small centrifuge like this one to spin down the droplets from the cup. I always like doing it because it allows you to use the kit to the full extent. Very briefly, nothing more is needed. We'll do the same for the second kit. And that's that. Next step is very simple. Just follow what's on the piece of paper. Let's start there. Let's start with, in this case, I'll do influenza first because it's on the left of my rack. Like I said, personal preference. I need 134.75 of microliters for component number 1, which is the master mix. The vials have different colors. The yellow one is master mix. The white one is PPIC, primer probe and internal control. And here is the third one, which is the enzyme solution. So we'll start with the master mix. For this I will need pipetting tips. And like I said, 134.75. We're going to round that off to 134.8. So we'll just put that on the pipette. Take a tip, which has to be a filter tip when you're doing PCR. Take the mix. When working, I'd like to keep a clean path to the waste so I don't have to cross any other stuff that I'm working with. I open the vial, I take the pipette. I do this gently, I take my time with this. I don't want any air bubbles which will give inaccurate pipetting volumes. Component number 1, I'll add it to the cup. Close it, ditch my tip, and I go to component number 2, which is the PPIC mix, 82.5. We'll round that off to 82.6. Or 82, in this case will be 83. And I'll take the second component. Very important if you're working with multiple kits to check that the PPIC has the target that you're actually looking for. I'm working with influenza, so this needs to be influenza. I'll take the reagents again. Take your time with this, don't rush this. Add it to the cup. Close the cup. Ditch the tip. Time for the final component, which is the RT mix, which is 2.75. So I'll take this one. No longer needed. 2.75. Here's the enzyme. This liquid can be a bit difficult to pipette because it's quite viscous. So again, take your time with this. Because you're dealing with small volumes, it's always a good idea to check if you actually have liquid in the tip by holding it against something that allows you to see the components in the tip. In this case, this looks fine. Most reagents I would pipette against the wall, but because this substance is quite thick, I just pipette it into the rest of the mix. I mix it a few times, throw the tip away. And here is component number 1. We're going to repeat this process for PRRS, so let's just do that. First step, master mix 154 I think it is, so I'll take the proper kit. 154. Take the reagents. 154 is master mix, so I'm looking for a vial that states master mix. That should be the yellow one. Color is different for technical reasons. We'll take the liquid and we'll add it to the cup. That was component number 1. Component number 2, PPIC mix. All right, second kit, PRRS. So 154 master mix, so I'll set the pipette to 154. And this mix contains everything you need. We call it master mix, so I'll just add it. To the cup. Close it, park it. Second component to this kit is enzyme, 11 micrometers. Enzyme is this one, enzyme solution. I need 11. This pipette will not do. Of course, before I do this, I cleaned all my surfaces here and I cleaned the pipettes, which is standard PCR practice. So I'll take the right tip. Again, this is a viscous solution, so take your time with this. Close it, add it to the cup, ditch the tip. Final component is water for this kit, 55 microliters, so I'll take the correct pipette, new tip, water, PCR grade. So take the water, add it to the tube again. And that's it. Here I have my 2 completed reaction mixes for both assays. It is good practice, and I would always do this, to mix these. Once you're done mixing them, spin them briefly. And now they're finished, and now we can add them to a reaction vessel. Most people will work with plates, but if you want to combine assays with a freeze-dried assay like we have here, we cannot use a plate. We'll use strips. Here we have the reagents for our 2 liquid kits, influenza and PRRS, and here we have the freeze-dried kits. Normally you would put everything on a plate, but if the kit is freeze-dried like this one in the cup, then you can still use a plate, but that means you would have to transfer all the reagents in here after adding your DNA and other stuff to the plate. You can also choose to work with strips and add the other liquid kits to strip. Both options are fine. Today I've decided to go for the strip option, where I can just add reagents to the freeze-dried plate. This is a new bag, so I'll just open it. And I'm just going to see what I need. I need a full batch in row number 7, which is this one. I need 7 in row number 11. I'll cut a few. So I need 2 cups in row number 5. These things are very easy to cut, so I'll just do that. And I'll add those over here. Go there. And I have 7 cups for PRRS over here, so I can lose 1. Let's try not to be wasteful, so I'll just save it and use it another day. And I need 3 here for controls, the negative, the positive, and the process control, which helps you to determine if a sample is inhibited, yes or no. And for that I need 3 cups, so I'll just take 3 cups. Those need to go over here. Now let's align everything in its proper place. I like numbering the lids, so I'll just call this one one. I'll call this one I2, and I'll call this one P for PRRS 1, and I'll call this one P2 for PRRS. Just try to eliminate mistakes if and where possible. Next step is adding reagents to the strips. When you're using strips, it is highly recommended to make sure that the color of the strips are the same across the whole plate. Otherwise you can get fluorescence problems on some machines. So because the pre-filled strips for my MGMS kit are white, I used white strips for the other assays. It saves potential headaches later on in the process. So let's use this. And now we're going to have to add the reagents. So for influenza A, which is this one, the total reaction volume is 20 microliters. So I'll just do 20. Take the reagents. And as mentioned before, the software has calculated how much we need, and it made sure that it compensated for dead volume. The customer, like I said, can determine the amount of dead volume themselves, but there should always be enough. When doing this, I always recommend reverse pipetting. So this is influenza. I'm checking my plate again. Influenza goes over here, and I just gently pipette the reagents. I did the first 3. I'll just try to fill the other ones. This is the boring part of our job. Just making sure I'm not doubling anything. There we go. That was kit number 1. All right, second kit, PRRS. Volume is the same, also 20 microliters, so I don't have to change my pipette. All I need to do is get a new tip, take the tube, we're going to do reverse pipetting again, and then we're just going to add it to the plate. Again, don't rush this, because if you ruin this, you ruin the rest. So just take your time. Always check your work. Looks good. That's it. Next step. We need to transfer this to a storage location because we haven't extracted our DNA yet or RNA. So we need to seal this and then store it at the refrigerator temperature for a while. For that we need strips, which I have over here. I'll try not to be wasteful again, so I will just take 2 separate ones for my controls for influenza. I'll take 3 separate ones for my controls for PRRS. And I'll take 2 full strips, one for the influenza kit, and we'll do the same thing for PRRS. That's it, that's all the work you need to do in room number 1. So far we still haven't touched MGMS, so those remain closed because you don't have to do anything with them apart from adding reagents or extractions and controls. So I'll see you at the extraction procedure.